Hi, today, welcome. I wanted to do a practice that a little bit of a potpourri with plenty of twists. We'll go upside down and um, talk a little bit about the churning of the ocean of consciousness myth, which is this beautiful allegory, this metaphor for the churning that happens in our spiritual practice and how sometimes trickinesses come up, but ultimately our practice is to support the upsurge, the rising and nourishment of our contact to Soma, Amrita, the nectar of being, that nectar quality of essence that does not diminish or die, but that sometimes gets obscured, and then we'll move into this process of following the myth and the churning that happens in the myth, and see if a sunlight gets a little bit more to the surface to support us in our life. All right, so let's take a moment. We'll settle in just with a couple of deep breaths. Let's start with one Om. Take a breath in. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to our yoga mat. We'll start in hands and knees position. So when you take a breath in, ground the hands. Exhale, root down and round your back, gaze to the heart. Inhale, look up, hips sway up, look up, and exhale, push down and round. And you let your breath lead now, the rhythm of the pace, the pacing of the breath. I'm going to do Ujjayi breath that's familiar to you. This is very beautiful, calling in of prana and drawing in the efficacy of the energy of the breath through the whole body. Also helps focus the mind. And I love to do cat-cow for a while, but sometimes it also feels quite delicious to start to move your ribcage around in a circle. So feel free to do that. Or sometimes hips in a circle, forward and back and around, or maybe a combination. So today's practice is about cultivating the soma and inviting it to surge forward. The movements are an invitation to just feel where maybe some blocks are to experiencing that, or maybe just feeling it right away in this churning of our torso and churning of the body, and breathing with it. Kind of nectar right from the get-go starts to begin to reveal its presence. Okay, and the next few breaths, when you feel ready, you can start to move into downward facing dog, or if you have a different variation, so you're not putting weight too much on your arms, you can move your hands forward and just do hands and knees dog, or regular down dog. But the first downward facing dog, instead of just staying there, churn the legs a little bit, move them a bit, and start to move the hips and the sides of the body in ways that feel quite welcoming to sensation and expression and movement and play. Maybe even the shoulders, you lift and you descend through the upper back and get this kind of sweet flossing motion in the upper back. All right, and let's go ahead and take an in-breath. When you exhale, step your right foot forward into a lunge, and then just allow yourself to descend. So part of the story, in order to get the soma, it's at the depth of the ocean of consciousness, or ocean of milk sometimes. And so just allowing this connection to the depth is where we move, whether it's mental or physical. I go into this kind of a depth of sensation, of feeling of your own presence. And we are going to lift the back leg up, even as the front leg goes deep. And here, let's open the breath up into the heart and stretch the chest open. Okay, down dog again. Taking in breath, left leg forward, and the front leg. And sometimes we go so deep the front heel comes off. Don't do that. Take the hips back, front heel down,
Just kind of, you can even pulse a little bit forward and back. And then stay in the front leg, but lift the top of the back groin up. And then open your chest. So you've got lift in the back leg, depth in the front leg. Right in the middle of that. Okay, let's step forward. Uttanasana. Feet hip distance or wider if your hips are feeling a little tight. And then inhale, push down with the feet and fingers, swing your chest forward. Yes, it's fine to bend your knees, whatever it takes to get the low back to curve in. And exhale, stretch the legs straighter as you bow. Inhale, swing the chest forward. And as you exhale and bow, don't lead with the front ribs, take the front ribs back and bow. We'll do that twice more with the breath. Now this time, when you inhale, bend your knees quite deeply. Take your hands onto your thighs and pull the hips back so that like the hamstrings, the buttocks, they move up to your low back, you get a natural curve. And then keep that as you push down with your hands and take the ribs back. So this is really key in our twist to get a curve in the low back, but the front ribs move back. That's going to be really helpful for us. So then inhale your arms over the head into fierce pose or awkward pose. One more breath. Inhale, push off, stand. And then exhale, we'll side bend to the left. Breathe here. Inhale, come up. And exhale to the other side. Inhale, come up. Take the hands behind your back, interlace your fingers like this. We're going to lift the torso up with the arms. Once the armpits are lifted, take the head of the shoulder back. And with a little bend in your arms, glide the elbows towards each other. And that can lift up your shoulder blades, lift your heart. A couple breaths here. In the story, the great celestial beings need to work together to mine the soma from the depth. So they asked the great mountain, Mount Mandara, to be the churning stick. So in this mountain pose, this is great enlightened mountain that is going to help the situation. Release your fingers. Come to the front of your yoga mat. Inhale, arms over the head, look up. Exhale, hips back, touch the floor. Inhale, swing the chest forward. Exhale, please step your left leg back into a lunge. Lower the knee. Inhale, the arms over the head. Make sure the back of your ribs are lifting. Exhale, hands forward, step forward, Uttanasana. Again, inhale, swing the chest forward, and exhale your right leg back. Put the knee down. Inhale, the arms over the head. The back ribs are lifting also. And exhale, release your hands to the floor. Inhale into a plank or plank on the knees. And then exhale, pull the floor up to you as you lower down. Flatten the feet, tail down. Inhale, lengthen from hips to armpits as you lift up to cobra. The low belly is drawing back, ribs are back. And then we just, like a snake, glide back and serpentine movements of rolling side to side around the mountain. They asked Vasuki, the great serpent, to wrap around the churning stick as a churning rope. He says yes. Shoulders back, blades in, and then exhale, pull back, downward dog. In this downward dog, please take a wider stance with your feet, almost as wide as the yoga mat. Bend the knees. The ribs are lifted up, but pull your inner thighs back to get a natural curve in your back. You can do a little bounce here. Grab the floor, pull strength from the earth all the way up into your armpits. The armpits lift, so does your neck. And then release your upper back and deeper to sweep the chest as if it were wanting to look at the front of the mat. Good. Now stretch your legs back a little straighter. Stretch the neck and arms a little straighter. Good. And then bend the knees again. Walk or jump the feet to the hands. Swing the chest forward. Exhale, bow in. Bend the knees. Inhale, come all the way up into a fierce pose. Exhale, mountain pose. Step out to a wide stance. Good. Turn your left foot in a little bit, your right foot open. Rooting the feet, inhale from the heart, the arms open, and exhale, bend the front leg. Your knee goes toward the pinky toe side. Inhale, arms up, stretching the front leg straight. And exhale, warrior two. Go in and out of this sequence a few times with your breath. Good, stay in warrior. Inhale the arms up over your head, side bend toward the back foot. Yeah, now it's easy to crunch in the low back. Thighs back, legs grounded, then you'll lift up the whole back rib cage. Yeah, and then slide the shoulder blades under your heart and lift your heart up as a back bend, side bend. Bend the front leg. Inhale, come all the way upright, straighten the leg, and exhale other direction. Make sure the right foot is not turned out. Straight ahead or slightly in. Inhale, hug the feet together, lift up through the heart. Exhale, bend the front leg. We'll do this sequence like we did the other side. Inhale up and exhale down a few rounds. Building strength and endurance because they churn, the celestial beings, they churn the rope. So Vasuki's wrapped around the mountain and they take turns pulling one side then the other, and then the mountain churns so it's like a swirling energy. So in your warrior, we'll go ahead and inhale the arms up and take a side bend toward the back foot. Thighs back, so the sitting bones are back and apart. The pelvis roots down, like moving into the depths of the ocean. And inhale, lift the back ribs up, gliding the shoulder blades behind the heart to lift yourself higher and more regal. Then inhale, come all the way upright, straightening the front leg. Turn your feet parallel to each other, make sure they're kind of in line with each other, and interlace the fingers behind your back. Rooting the inner heels down, lift up through the torso again, shoulders back, and exhale, forward fold with hands interlaced or hands to the hips if the front of the chest or front of the shoulders tend to get a little bit pinchy. Shoulder blades are more behind your heart. Good. Now pressing down with the feet, inhale, come up with the shoulder blades still on your back, the heart lifting, and then walk or jump toward the front of the yoga mat again. Palms in front of the heart. Rooting down through the legs, inhale the arms up over the head. And exhale, touch the earth, bending the knees as you need. Inhale, swing the chest forward. And exhale, step your left leg back into a lunge. Pressing down with your feet, and I have the back heel off the floor. Inhale the arms up over the head. We'll pause, take the arms a little bit more open like a moon shape. Notice the tendency for the hips to tuck and the back thigh to move forward. So we want the thighs to swoosh back, the back hip to widen so the low back is nice and wide, and then lift the back ribs. Beautiful. Stretch the arms a little more as you descend into the front leg. One more breath in crescent warrior. Good. Now we'll place the hands on the front leg. Lean forward, thighs back again. Ribs back again. Slide the left arm, either the hand outside the knee and the right hand to the hip, or the forearm or the arm outside the leg. Palms together, right elbow to the ceiling. Breathe. Ribs back. You have to open up through the chest and then spiral your heart to the right. We'll take 2 breaths here, inviting the right shoulder to glide back, opening the right side of the chest. Last breath in. And exhale, look down, place the hands down. And you're going to take a little shorter stance to turn the back heel onto the floor. Hips back, front thigh back to straighten the leg. You can use blocks under your hands. And bow. Parsvottanasana. So the turning, the twist that we're doing, this is what's happening in the story. As we're churning, it's like the things are coming up. You might feel on the side like there's a lot that's opening. There's a lot that we're meeting that's sticky. But we're trying to clear out the stuff that's blocking the soma or the nectar. And then helping the energy churn so that what can come up does. Please step forward into Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Take a moment here Find your breath. Notice the difference between the right leg and the left leg in the sensations. And maybe the right lung, the right side of the torso compared to the other. We'll do that sequence on the other side. Pressing the feet down, inhale, swing your chest forward. Exhale your right leg back into a lunge. Pressing the feet down, inhale the arms over the head. Good, stay here. The reason I have the back heel up, you can't have it down, it's just a harder twist, harder to get the hips to feel free enough to stabilize you. So heel down is more stable for the feet, but trickier in the hips. Okay, so let's take the hand under the front leg, shift the thigh back, there's the curve in the back. Push down, ribs back, that's gonna help us twist. And either keep the hand outside the knee, other hand to the hip, or forearm or elbow outside the knee, stack your palms. I always, at this point, reaffirm, thighs back, ribs back, ground the legs. Then I open and churn the ribs and the heart, shoulders, opening the throat. The head releases back and breathe. Breathe into this churning. Good, and then we'll look down, place the hands down, squeezing the hips to midline to do that. Little shorter stance to put the back heel down, then shift the hips back, hands on the floor, or like we did before, blocks. And bow and breathe. Good, this time, downward facing dog with that wide stance at the feet. Bend the knees. And dig your arms a little bit more vertical. So it's almost like a weird hands and knees pose, but your knees aren't on the floor. Grab the floor and root the inner hands down. So the fingerprints are down, the base of the fingers are down. The arms are vertical, the armpits are going toward the ears, but then you release your upper back. You'll notice I'm not releasing my ribs and my belly. I'm not doing a collapse here. Just the heart. Good. Wiggle the hips up. Good, stretch the legs. Excellent. Okay, lower the knees down. So sit on a block or two, or your heels. Interlace your fingers. Turn the interlaced fingers and palms forward. And take the hands on top of the head. So the knuckles are on the head. Extend your spine all the way up to the crown, like a mountain, tall. We glide the arms in toward the spine without pulling the shoulders down. The armpits and ribs are lifting, but the shoulder blades magnetically draw to the center. And then keeping the blades on your back, start to stretch the arms over the head. Sometimes they don't get all the way straight, so you just squeeze the forearms towards each other. Keep lifting your spine, your crown, ribs back, breathe, and then release. Stretch over to the side bend and breathe. Yes, you can do this cross-legged too if it's too much on the knees. Other side. Good, inhale, come up. So from here, find a wall that you can work with. We're going to move into a variation of handstand, which is translated as upside down tree, or upside down, turning something upside down like a mountain would be, right? Because of course, if the mountain is turning upside down, so are all the trees. We start in hands and knees pose. Your hands firmly on the mat. See how wide my hands are? Middle of the wrist, as wide as the outer shoulder. I lengthen the torso as much as I can, so I'm not pulling the shoulders back. Release the upper back so it's not rounded. Then you'll tuck your toes and lift your knees. So it looks a little bit like that weird down dog we did. You can stay here, or take one foot as high as your buttocks, no higher. Push into the wall and take your other foot up. You move your chest to the wall. Your armpits back, but your chest to the wall. Good, get a curve in the low back, ribs back, and then press the thighs straighter by pressing the thighs more up to the ceiling. Good. Stretch your tail up. One more breath, squeezing the arms towards each other. And then step down. And either go back onto your blocks, your heels, or child pose. Close your eyes, please. And sometimes what's churning up is sometimes the stuff that's been at the bottom, which is sludgy and sticky. And maybe it's about fear or a sense of, I can't. Maybe it's an exhilaration, maybe it's the opposite. Maybe what's coming up is not the sticky stuff that needs to be released, and it is in this work, letting go. But sometimes what's coming up is that surging forth of exhilaration, of like, oh my gosh, I tried it, I was doing it, right? Everything is part of this journey, tricky and the delight. We allow it all. Okay, we're gonna do it again. And this time, if you choose, you can take one leg up in the air. Please don't take both, because in that one you want to be turned around. Okay? If you want to watch and then pause and pull the video back to do it yourself, you may. Okay? So take a big breath, create space, moving your thighs back, your arms forward. Release your upper back. Now even spin the elbow creases forward a bit. Then, without rounding the low back or upper back, lift the knees. Take one foot up, the other foot. I start with my knees bent. Get a natural curve in my back, tone the belly, and then you can or not stretch the legs a little straighter. From here, take one leg up into the air, spread the toes, and you'll hug your legs to midline and your arms toward the midline, and then root down toward the bottom of the ocean with your hands, and from your heart, reach all the way up to the toes. You can switch sides at this point or change and go right to child pose again. Couple breaths. And then gracefully come down if you haven't yet. Child pose or Vajrasana. Sitting on your heels or blocks. Close the eyes. Something is surging forth, isn't it? Couple breaths. And invite the breaths to move into a more natural rhythm. Or maybe not more natural, but more conscious and more even, where the inhales and the exhales are moving toward the same length and intensity. All right, so we're not gonna do anything with the hands in this moment, but you can roll the wrists a bit. So big shoulder opener, lengthen, shoulders back, hands rolling, other direction. And then we'll move into pigeon. Okay? So from hands and knees, take your right knee forward. My knee's a little wider than the hip. The ankle is pointed, probably for the first one for most of us. Okay. All right, either hands forward or forearms down. First, we just pause and relax the jaw. Then you're gonna get really grounded. Grounded with your forearms, grounded with your shins. And hug your knees towards each other. So when you do that, the hips might lift up a little, the ribs might lift up a little. Don't worry about that. You're gonna hug in, just like the Vasuka, the serpent, wraps around the center of the mountain. We hug in, and then we use this kind of tone to widen and churn a little bit. So you're gonna hug in, and then widen your left sitting bone, hamstring, buttock as a unit to the left. Churn the right hip back and down. Again, hug in, widen your left hip. Exhale, press down, outer front hip, back and down. I'm just gonna play. And then get very grounded in the tone of your legs, get really rooted in the square of your hips. And then you can release your head and your upper back. Put your hands on blocks or the floor and breathe. There's no need to release the tension or the tone, out of the legs. The tone can be present, but any over-efforting or fidgeting can just release at this point. And you move into the depths of the experience of whatever is arising with compassion and patience. Okay, let's switch sides. You can just move your hands and knees or move to down dog if you like, between sides. So we don't want to go so forward with the front leg that the hips can't be square. Like if you're just like sitting with your front hip down and your hips are kind of turned sideways, not really so optimal for the knee or the low back. So, but if you're, bring your foot maybe even a little bit more closer to the body, push down, press down the legs, ribs back, then come down. It's helpful on your knees. So you kind of press down with your feet and shins, press down and take the ribs back. Sometimes that takes enough pressure off the knee that you can actually get a hip stretch. Okay. Relax through the jaw. And we hug the knees towards each other and then have this churning a little bit. So I'm trying not to churn the back heel and shin. That's going to stay straight up and down. I'm turning from the back of the leg, the sitting bone, and the buttock. I'm trying to widen the back hip, widen the back thigh and hip and low back. And then get grounded in the front hip as I do that. And then once you have this kind of optimal place of like, ooh, that's a good stretch, maintain that kind of consciousness in the muscular system. But then relax through the head and the upper back. Breathe. There's a lot at the depth of the hips. I feel sticky. You know, at one point in the story, there's a lot of intense stickiness that arises from the churning. Downward facing dog. They're not really sure what to do with it. You know, feels like it's gonna take over everything. Please step your right foot forward. Put the back knee down on the floor. Turn your right foot out a little bit. So we're gonna bend the front leg into its depth, keeping the heel down. So the left hand is on the floor or the forearm. Right arm up. You can take a little twist. So the front leg can turn out a little bit. Turn the front foot out a little bit, but we're not collapsing the ankle in any way. And then do a big shoulder opener. Grab the back foot. Bring the foot to the buttock. Many of you want to come up onto the left hand instead of the forearm. And then instead of just dropping the left thigh to the floor and not getting the foot to the buttock, pull the left heel, the left knee and front heel towards each other and see if you can get enough lift of the left butt and bring it to the foot that the foot can actually reach the butt. Then do the shoulder opener at the same time as you twist and churn into the spine. Lean back. Good, and release. Ooh. All right, let's take the hands under the floor, on the blocks at the back knee. And we'll start to just reach the hip back and lift the front foot up a little bit into a dorsiflex. And then bend the front leg and pull the thigh back, dorsiflex in. As you bend, try to keep the back thigh as high as it is right now. And then dorsiflex in. Good, and then we'll switch sides. Left foot forward. All right, so the front foot turns out. Right hand or right forearm on the floor. Take the left arm up. Turn the front leg out. I'm taking myself onto the outer edge of the foot without collapsing the ankle. And doing a big shoulder opener. Breathe. Top hand to the back foot. Bring it in. Come on your right hand if that's helpful. Sometimes we go so into the back leg that you can't get your foot in. So it becomes more a groin stretch than a thigh stretch. But lift the buttock back so that the foot can come to the buttock. Ribs back. Now bend the front leg a little deeper. Oh, there's the thigh stretch we're looking for. Roll the shoulders back. Churning. What's coming up? Maybe it's gorgeousness. Like, oh my gosh. Oh, this is amazing. Or, oh, there's my sticky. Both are coming up in the story. The delicious beauties and also the stuff that's hard. You just keep breathing through it. And then release. All right, we'll take the hands onto the floor. Lift the back knee and exhale, pull back. Maybe the back heel comes down, maybe it doesn't. We're dorsiflexing the front foot. And exhale, bend the knee. Back thigh stays high. And exhale, straight front leg. And again. Ooh, good. And we'll go back, plank pose, and all the way down onto the floor. All right, flatten the feet. Want to turn the inner thighs up to the ceiling. Root the shins down, knees down. It helps root the tailbone down and the ribs back. Now we'll place the fingertips on the floor. Instead of the palms in cobra, we do fingertips nice and wide, wider than usual. Root down in all the parts. Lift the torso. Pull from elbows to shoulders. Throat and shoulders back. And as the legs root down, pull with the fingers and sweep the heart forward. Open up the chest as you draw it forward, and then lower all the way back down and make a pillow with your hands and forearms and rest. After all the churning in the story, Vasuki, the serpent, starts to get really uncomfortable and starts to kind of burp and vomit and just, he's having a hard time. And so what ends up happening is that they call on Shiva in the form of the mantra. Let's pull back to hands and knees once. Into child pose for a moment. Touch your palms together and the head to the earth. So many mantras that come out of the essence of being. But when he says the mantra, and in dealing with the trickiness, then it starts to transmute and shift this kind of poisonous, sticky quality to what comes up in the mind, and it shifts it. Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namo Namaha, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namo Namaha, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namo Namaha. Come through hands and knees. All right, let's come up through this knees position here. Tuck the toes. So for folks who have trickiness in their back, sometimes the back bends, put a block between your knees. Squeeze it. Okay, and you're feeling the tone of your legs. Lift up in the torso. Tone the ribs back and lift up through your back ribs. And just take a little twist to the right and reach the right hand toward the back foot while lifting the left chest especially. And go back to the center, lift up, turn toward the left foot, toning and lifting. Maybe the hand comes to the heel, maybe it doesn't. And then do a couple times of churning, and then the top arm might swoosh up and back. And if you want to move into camel, go ahead. A couple of breaths here. Lifting the heart up. And release. Very good. We're going to lower onto our back. Lower down. Good. Please bend the elbows, palms facing each other. Root the elbows and shoulders down. The shoulder blades are lifting into the heart. There's a natural curve in your back. Pressing the feet down, lift bridge. Good. Couple breaths here. Or interlace your fingers underneath you. Breathe. Good. And release. Bring your hands onto your body. After Shiva comes in and the practice of moving into the depth of ourself happens, whether through mantra or meditation, or this beautiful asana practice we do. The parts that are sticky get shifted, and in the process, we're shifted. Just as Shiva is shifted and turns the practice turns his throat blue. Nilakanta. Bridge again. Inhale, lift up the hips. Either interlace your fingers behind your back, or those of you who want to go into wheel, you may, which is placing the hands under the shoulders and lifting up into the pose. Two more breaths. And come down from your pose. Hands on the body to feel the breath, feel connected in. Okay, friends, go ahead and stretch your legs out straight. Dorsiflex the feet. Do the same arms as bridge, where your elbows are pressing down, shoulders are down, your back is a natural curve, but your thighs are descending down to the floor. Keep the left thigh down. Bring your right knee into your chest and hold the back of the leg, bring it in close. At this point, the back will tend to flatten and the left leg pops off. Do the opposite, please. Press the right thigh into your hands so the left leg gets very, very grounded, as if it's moving into the depth of our consciousness and the depth of support there. The low back is a natural curve. And then start to stretch the right leg up. Now, many of you like to have a strap around the foot. That's great. Some of you like to hold the foot. That's fine too. It's just harder to keep the left leg down. Okay. And after back bends, that's going to be our goal. You're going to do a lot of hamstring stretch. This is really for the back and making the back really happy. Okay, so you can either keep your leg straight or you can move it bent as you take your leg out to the right. Drawing the right leg into the socket so the left leg can get more grounded. Turning the right leg out in the socket and breathe. Okay, right leg up in the air. So you can take the straps into the left hand, right arm down, and then the knee, take it to the side, or if you have the foot, bring it to the side. The bottom leg is extending long right out through the heel, and then we're going the opposite way through the crown. Open the chest and spin your chest away from the extended leg. And breathe. It's good, so the right hip tends to hike up. We just keep rolling it away from the shoulder and breathe. This is this kind of continual churning and twisting that we do. Okay, inhale, take the leg up. Lower the leg down. Close the eyes, please, without moving yet. Let your awareness move down deep inside the experience of the body, the energy body as well. And see if you can allow yourself to perceive any difference between not just the right leg and the left leg, but also the right whole side of the body, and even how you're breathing on the right side. Often there's more release, more sense of freedom, more sense of lightness. Left leg into the chest. Hold the back of the leg. Those qualities of lightness and freedom, we can identify as expressions of soma, of the nectar that resides inside. Root the leg that's in towards your chest, push it back into your hand so you can ground the bottom leg, natural curve in your back, and then stretch the leg to the ceiling. You can use your strap around the ball of the foot if you have that. Use your breath. Okay, feel free to bend the top leg and take the leg out to the side. Or put the straps in the left hand or hold the leg and bring it out to the left. Very easy to let the energy just be disparate, flowing out from the center. But in the shape of the pose, hug the legs to midline. Hug your hips towards the midline. Feel very, very grounding. So it's that wrapping around the center that allows this kind of clear movement of the prana, of the energy through the system. Okay, inhale the leg up. You can put the other hand on the leg or the strap in the other hand. If you're bending the knee, you just move the knee to the side. Okay. Stretch through the bottom heel, all the way up to the top of the head, that beautiful, gorgeous, long mountain line. And then spin the chest away from your extended leg. The left hip rolls away from the shoulder. Breathe. Okay, take the leg back up. And lower the leg again next to the other one. Take a few moments here, resting to feel into the left side versus the right side. The reveal of any certain kind of scintillating luminosity or lightness or deliciousness. Or maybe there's an emotion that's releasing and you're feeling the emotion, pleasant or unpleasant. Like we're releasing, we always say, whatever's blocking in the matrix system of the body, releasing from this churning action of the asana practice, and releasing that which is kind of holding back the nectar from flowing into the system. So just appreciate, do I feel more of that coming through now that I've churned and released from the twist? One more sequence. Stand the feet on the floor. Cross the right ankle over the left knee. Turn the knee out. If you're feeling plenty here, perfect. Otherwise, with the strap around your left leg, you can hold that, or just hold your left leg and go into Sukirandrasana, or sometimes number 4 pose it's called. Be mindful not to sickle your top ankle towards your face. Keep dorsiflexing the foot and spreading the toes away from your face. Good. Natural curve, best you can, and breathe here. Okay, release your fingers from the leg. Put the foot down on the floor, still bent. We're going to cross the right thigh actually over the left thigh so the knees are stacked. Either squeeze your shins towards each other or wrap the foot around the left calf. Arms to cactus or T. Please scoot your hips to the right a little bit, a couple inches. And then let your knees fall to the left. If it feels too much for your low back, put a block under your knees so you don't go too deep. You only go as far as the right shoulder is grounded and earthy. You can stay where you are or just press the elbows and head down a little more to lift the chest and spin it more to the right, away from the knees. And breathe here. Good, take the knees up, unwrap the legs. Cross the left ankle over the right knee, turn the knee out. Pick up the right leg. Bring the leg in. The left knee turns out as the right leg comes in. We meet the experience of the hip with steady breath. The pose or a stance of curiosity in the mind. Then we move into Garudasana twist, placing the right foot on the floor. Left knee crosses over the bottom knee and either squeeze the shins or wrap the foot around the calf. We're going to scooch the hips to the left a couple inches. Arms into T or cactus and the knees fall to the right, only as far as the left shoulder is grounded. You breathe here. After Shiva comes in and shifts the stickiness, which feels like it's going to overwhelm the system, and the practice of coming into the exquisite connection with the vibration of the universe, which is what the mantra is known as. The kind of sticky quality of the mind clears, the churning continues. The celestial beings keep churning the churning rod and rope. Inhale, come up, please. Release your feet, hips back to center. The knees draw into the chest with a neutral spine. And from that last churning, the soma rises to the surface. From the depths, the system has been cleared out enough that there's no impingement or impeding the soma from flowing to the surface. Inhale, take the knees away while your back stays neutral. And exhale, draw it in again. Your hands always holding the knees. Inhale, knees away until your arms straighten. Exhale, knees in. This is called Apanasana. Last time, inhale, knees away. Exhale, legs in. And then just rock a little side to side, or maybe move your knees in a circle. And then release your legs. Shavasana. Palms up. Legs gently underneath you. Rest your eyes, close your eyes. Let your body feel very relaxed. Relax your bones, your skin, your muscles. Such a beautiful story, this churning of the ocean, an allegory of our practice. When we began our yoga practice, it's so sweet, such beautiful things rise to the surface of our experience. And sometimes what comes up is what's been sticky there, what's been holding on, and the practice helps release it, helps clear it. Sometimes it feels, oh my gosh, this feels a little overwhelming. But they keep churning, but they have the assistance of Shiva, of consciousness. That's what Shiva represents, absolute consciousness, the vibratory essence of being. And it shifts, things shift, such that the nectar of being starts to emerge and nourish and nurture and support all life. At this point, I want to invite you to continue laying in Shavasana as long as you're able. When you are ready to come out, you'll just roll to your side and come back up to begin the rest of your day after being able to steep and bask in the great nectar of your being. Om Namah Shivaya.